And we welcome you back. Our signing day show presented by Wells Fargo rolls along. Texas A&M inking that 2015 class, and it certainly looks to be a good one. The Aggies hoping for a third consecutive that ranks in the top 10 nationally. So another new addition to Coach Sumlin's staff. He'll coach wide receivers, and that's Aaron Moorehead. We bring him in studio now. We just talked to Dave Christensen a moment ago, but now we have new wide receivers coach Aaron Moorehead, and just welcome to Texas A&M first of all.
Appreciate it. It's great to be here, and me and my family excited to be here in College Station, and can't wait to really get going. Kind of hit the ground running myself, and now it's ready for the rest of the crew to get here.
All right, we'll start with Aaron Moorehead here, but first, Landis Durham is the newest signee for the Texas A&M 2015 class. His letter of intent is in, and it's approved. Landis Durham is now an Aggie. But Aaron, think about the interview process. You come here from Virginia Tech, where you worked with Frank Beamer, and what about Kevin Sumlin and Jake Spavital during those talks made you say, College Station and Texas A&M, that's a place I need to be?
Well, you get with those guys and you can feel their passion, you can feel their energy for the game, really similar to myself. And that was important to me, just talking about recruiting and some of the things those guys do and how they do things, and, kind of just meshed. And as I walked out of the interview, I just said, man, I think this would be a great fit. I hope they felt the same way, and obviously it worked itself out. But I really just felt that energy, felt that positive energy from both of those guys, yeah. and not only just football, as people and as recruiters and all those things. It's the stuff I believe in, and I think it was going to be a match made in heaven. I'm hoping it stays that way.
And now the man you leave, I would think that's got to be a little bit of tough, because Frank Beamer is one of the icons of the game, absolutely, quite frankly. And what has he meant to you?
Well, he's been a great mentor. He's been a guy that has done this thing the right way, has built a program from really nothing into a perennial top 25 team. And if you look at how he's done it the right way. They've not bent the rules. They do everything right, by the book, and they've gotten great recruits, and they've put great offense and defense and special teams together there for a long time. But more as a man and as a father, he taught me some things that I'll never be able to take away.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know how much conversations you've gotten with our current wide receivers, because like we say, I mean, you guys hit the ground recruiting, mm-hmm, running and recruiting, yeah. And I think a recruiting visit was a part of your first moment you landed in College Station.
Absolutely.
But what kind of dialogue have you gotten with the current Aggie wide receivers, and what's your take on guys like Speedy Noyle and then the Ricky Seals-Jones and Josh Reynolds?
Well, I've talked to just about all the guys. Mm-hmm. So it's been good just to sit down with them, talk a little football, talk a little life, just see what those guys are about. And mm-hmm, we got a good group of kids, a talented group, and I look at them and say they're young, and we have the ability to take the next step. And that's right, what I keep telling them is the next step in your process. And for some guys, it's a smaller step. For some guys, it's going to be a bigger step. You lose Malcolm, who was the leader of that group.
Right.
And that was, every guy said that. So we got to find a couple guys to step up and be leaders. And that's where these young guys who are now turning into older guys have to step up. Mm-hmm. Josh and Ricky, they have to be the leaders of this group, and that's the challenge that I presented to those guys. But that's what's going to take for us to take that next step and become an elite group in this conference. And really, I told those guys, my goal for you guys is to be the best group in the SEC. If you're the best group in the SEC, you're going to be in that top 2 or 3 in the country, and that's my goal for these guys this season. That's the bar that I'm setting for them.
And some new receivers joining you on this day. One I wanted to ask you about is already here, and they put these stars on these recruits, and this is a guy who's a 5-star, and maybe a little bit of pressure comes with that. But Christian Kirk, when you watch his highlights, and we will later when we go into the film room with Jake Spavital, but this is a dynamic player and can help you be an elite receiving corps.
Well, I tell you that he does a lot of different things. He played running back in high school. He played defensive back in high school. He played receiver. He played quarterback. I mean, the guy does it all. He's a great kid. He's going to be easily one of the more vocal guys, a guy that can be a leader in our room at some point within the next couple of years. You just see it. He's got a natural leadership quality about him. He's a great kid and obviously a dynamic football player that we can't wait to get in this offense and let him run around. He's got great hands, he's got great speed, and when he gets the ball in his hands, he runs like a running back, and that's a big-time deal in this offense.
All right, now we do have to ask you about this because when you dig into Aaron Moorehead's bio, something pops out right away that you and your father are basically the answer to a trivia question in football that is quite the honor. All right, you won the Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts in 2006, that team.
Right.
Your father won it with the Chicago Bears in 1985.
Right.
Aaron Moorehead and his father Emery are the only father-son duo in the history of football to both win Super Bowls, and you guys got bragging rights on everybody in the game.
Yeah,
you ever use it?
It's a great honor. You know, I'm really a humble guy. You know, I don't, if I'm walking down the street and I'm talking to people, you'll never know that I played in the NFL. It's just not how I am. I don't talk about that a whole bunch. I love it if I'm recruiting, if I'm out with people and they know, of course I'll talk about it, but that's not going to come out of my mouth. My dad, on the other hand, you're going to know it every time, but that's him. But it's crazy because there's two sets. Ryan Neese and Ronnie Lott both had Super Bowl rings, father, son.
Okay.
But Ryan was
You
hurt.
were the first.
He was hurt. We
Okay.
both played in the game.
Okay,
Ryan was on injury reserve.
Little
And,
asterisk to the trivia question,
that's,
but still there.
But that is, but it's a great honor. And to be honest, you know, you probably assume that it's not going to last forever. We're not going to be the only one, but I'll take it as long as we can have it.
Now, you say you're humble about it. Your dad, not so much. The 85 Bears were a little more brash than the old 06 Colts, weren't they?
And that's the difference. You know, you look at that team, and those guys still run around Chicago like they're playing now, and they have a good time. And you know, you got to love that about those guys. You know, they had personality on top of personality, and our team was a little more humble. We just went about our business every day, and it was just a little different environment. But if you look at the head coach, you know, you look at the coordinators, you know, and you look at our head coach, and you look at our coordinators, that's the difference. It was just a leadership, and not different or not bad or worse or anything, just different. And it worked for those guys. What we did, you know, it worked for us, and you know, we're both champions at the end of the day.
All right, good stuff, and glad to have you here at Texas
Awesome.
A&M, Aaron.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
All right, that's Aaron Moorehead, our new wide receivers coach here at Texas A&M. We're going to let him go and get huddled around that fax machine with all the other coaches. The signing day continues. The letters of intent roll in.